Well, hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody who has joined us from different part of the world. And welcome to this webinar, BrowserStack Test Management, What's New? Before we get started, a quick introduction about myself. I'm Supratim, and I'm from the product marketing team here at BrowserStack. I take care of the marketing activities for test management and other upcoming products here. I will be the moderator for this session. Today we have with us Ankur from our product team. Ankur, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, Supratim. Hello, everyone. I think it's a pleasure to be talking to you all today. And my name is Ankur, and I'm part of the product team at BrowserStack. I work here as a group product manager, and I've been with the company for around close to 1.5 years. And I lead the product initiatives at the company for our test management product. And I have overall like 13 years of work experience building multiple products across B2B and B2C verticals. And very excited to be talking to you all in this session today.
Thanks, Ankur. Before we get started, couple of housekeeping items. This session will run for around 60 minutes, and the session is being recorded. The recording of the session will be made available to all the attendees post the webinar. All the participants will be muted so that speakers can engage without any interruptions. We will have a dedicated Q&A towards the end of the session, so please do make use of the Zoom Q&A, the Q&A window at the bottom and post in your questions. You can post in your questions throughout the session. We do have our experts as a part of the panel who will be taking up your questions, so please don't hesitate and post your questions throughout the session. The agenda for this webinar, well, we will be covering the new features that we have built in test management over the last couple of months. We will be showing these features through a live demo. We do have some very exciting features upcoming in the product, which we will be walking you through the roadmap. And like I mentioned, we will have a live Q&A towards the end of the session. Uh, Before we get started with the webinar, we will be launching a quick poll just to understand how you are currently managing your test cases. Can we please have the poll up? So which tool do you currently use to manage your test cases? You can also select multiple options out here. It will help us understand the current test management landscape. We will keep this poll live for a couple of more seconds. Well, that's an interesting mix we can see across multiple tools out there. All right, we will be just ending this poll. Thank you for your responses. And we will get started now with the webinar. So test management went on to GA last year around September, and post that we have built a couple of new features, enhancements into the product. So the first in that is one of the most important feature is the report one, which we have launched, through which you will be able to get comprehensive insights into your overall QA progress. We have also launched test plans through which you will be able to group and track your test runs and making your entire test run management more efficient. We have a powerful two-way integration with Jira, and we have some exciting features out there also built, which we'll be showcasing you. We have rolled out the first version of our API support, which is for the projects, and lastly, we have also integrated AI into our test case creation process as well, which we will be showcasing. This was just a very high-level overview of some of the key features which we have launched. We will be seeing this in detail and also seeing all the other enhancements that we have built into the product. So if you have any questions related to any of these features or anything that you would like to know about BrowserStack Test Management, please do post on the chat window below. We will be love to take those questions. Now, I would like to hand over to Ankur to show these features through a live demo and give an in-depth walkthrough of the product. Over to you, Ankur.
Thank you so much, Supratim, for a great start to the session and for setting the context. I'll quickly share my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Ankur.
Right? Great.
Yeah.
Just give me a minute. Cool. So I think, yeah, uh, when you log into BrowserStack Test Management, this is the first page that you would see. This is the all projects page, which will help you glance through all your existing test management projects. Now, these are the projects that you can either manually create from this option at the top, or you can also import your existing projects from your current tools. And those tools could be, let's say you're currently using TestRail or Scale or X-Ray. You can, in through just few clicks, you can seamlessly import your test cases in real time from your current offering without much of an hassle. So I'll just quickly show you how I can import data from TestRail. So all I have to do is just fill in my TestRail email address, TestRail host name, and TestRail API key. I have these data points pre-filled for this demo. So I can just test the connection, if the connection is working fine or not. Yeah, it looks like it's fine. So now I can just click on proceed. And what this connection will do is it will pull all the existing TestRail projects that I have in my account, and I can import all of them in one shot. Or I can, let's say, for the sake of this demo, just select one of the projects and begin my import. And that's it. In the background, the import will continue, and I can also track the real-time progress of how the import is looking like, right? And let's let's move ahead and see the other features of the project. So I can also like go over a demo project which comes pre-filled in your account if you're creating a fresh account. Demo project are basically pre-filled with a lot of data which can help you explore the product in easier fashion. And when you go inside any of the project, you'll find multiple menu options on the left. So the first one being the dashboard, which will help you get a glimpse of your entire testing activity, your test case creation, test run creation. Test case is the place where you can do test case authoring. You can create, store, organize your test cases in multiple folders, subfolders, right? And you can search these test cases on the basis of a particular test case ID or title. You have filtering options, which you can leverage to look for a specific test case or bunch of test cases, right? Test runs is a menu which gives you capability to create manual or automated test cases and get a centralized view of your unified testing, right, of your respective teams. And each of these test runs will also show you the overall progress of testing, how many test cases are passing, failing. Again, what are the set of runs that have been recently closed, and what are the runs that are active. Now, test plans are set of higher level entity which will help you group test runs within a test plan, and you can basically look at progress of multiple test runs within a test plan to gauge the performance of specific team which is, let's say, engaged in doing multiple testing activities simultaneously, right? I'll show you test plans in a bit as well in detail. And reports is sort of capabilities which will help you get a historical sneak peek into how the testing has happened for your respective teams for areas like test run summary and test run detailed report, right? And we're adding more reporting capabilities in the product, right? So now I'll quickly, okay, our import is in progress from TestRail. I think they should complete in a while. I'll quickly take you over to a project that I have in my account for this demo. And I'll want to spend some time on test case authoring experience to show you how easy and frictionless it is for users to create test cases. So like I mentioned, you can organize test cases within different folders. So I can, let's say, have a new test case folder called payments test cases, right? So there's a new folder that I've created, and my import from TestRail, by the way, has completed. So I can just quickly go to all projects and see that this TestRail project has come just now, and I can go inside this project and I can probably glance through all these test cases that have come from my TestRail account. So it is very simple, easy, and effortless to import your test cases from bunch of these tools that I talked about, be it TestRail, Scale, or X-Ray, right? Now, all these test cases are basically also going to retain the test case ID nomenclature that TestRail provides. And inside these test cases, you'll find steps, expected results, and all the other attributes that are defined in your TestRail account, which are going to show up automatically, right? Now, quickly going back to our project that we were discussing. So in this particular project, I have this new folder that I just now created, payments test cases. And I can author, let's say, inside this folder, I can start adding test cases like payments, basic flow, right? I can payments flow with PayPal as payments platform, right? And I can likewise do it with Stripe. So it's super fast to create test cases through one line addition. If you want to create a detailed test case uh, form, you can click on this create test case button, and you can open up a detailed form which will have bunch of other feeds like, you know, test case state, who is the owner of the test case, what is the priority. By default, every test case gets created with medium priority. You can change the order of the or the value of the priority as well, and bunch of other fields that will show up over here. I can also select from what kind of template I'm interested in adding a test case for. So let's say I'm adding this particular test case with steps driven template. So I can add bunch of steps. So for the sake of this demo, I'm just copy pasting the same content in each of these steps. I can add multi-step test case. I can have some preconditions which are going to be necessary to be run before these steps are performed, right? I can upload attachments and I can do a bunch of other activities, right? So this test case, this is a detailed test case that I just now created, and these are the steps that are going to show up over here. Now, a quick addition that we have done in this entire experience is our AI capability, which will help you enrich your test case repository and uh, probably like look out for some of the test cases that you might have missed out, right? So we want to help you uh, look out for those corner scenarios which probably have been missed by the team, and AI can help you discover those test cases effortlessly, right? So I have this project for Instacart web testing. So Instacart is a grocery platform based out of US. I have certain folders for Instacart web testing, which is like for homepage, charts, cards page, checkout page, payments page. Let's say I go to checkout page and I see that it has only one test case right now, which is added, right? So it says check Instacart checkout page, load time, right? What if I like want more test cases to be added here? So I'll probably like click on this generate capability. And what this capability does is in the background, it will start looking for certain test cases, which could be potential additions to your existing repo, right? Meanwhile, while this happens, I'll also show you another capability of AI. So when you go inside a particular test case, you can also enrich the test case details by using an autocomplete capability of AI, right? So I'll click on this AI button. And what this button will do is it will enrich this test case, which is right now quite clean and empty. I have just the test case title written over here and nothing else beyond this capability, right? So let's see what kind of capability this button is going to show us, right? Yeah, so I think this is pre-filled now. So the initial title said check Instacart sign up page load time. And now I have uh, description pre-filled for this particular scenario. I have some preconditions which talk about checking the speed of the internet, checking whether you have a valid Instacart account or not, checking I should have a proper web browser installed on my device. And and to enrich it further, I have step-by-step potential use cases or scenarios which the AI capability gives me, right? So I have to open the web browser, I have to enter the Instacart website URL, I have to click on the sign up button. So AI already assumes that there will be a sign up button on your homepage, and it basically helps you also go about starting a timer to do testing for the time, because this test case is all about checking the load time. So it's suggesting you that you should start the timer for sign up page as soon as you land on it, right? And then record the time basically, right? And automatically the test case template will change from text to steps. Earlier it was text, right? So this is one capability that we have built to enrich existing test cases. And this is the other capability that was running in the background. Now I have now multiple test cases that are suggested in this folder for checkout. Now it's suggesting like I should like go ahead and check the search functionality. I should, and so I can look for what are the relevant ones and I can add them in my repository. This is a particular test case which I find to be more relevant, like check Instacart checkout page load time after adding a product to cart, right? So what's the performance looking like when I'm adding a product specifically to a cart? What's the performance looking like for the checkout page, right? So this is a test case which I'm probably interested in adding to my repository. So I'll go ahead and add this suggested test case in my repository. Now this test case becomes part of my repository permanently, right? And the ones that I'm not interested, I can probably delete the suggestions, right? So AI automatically factors in what kind of user engagement that you're doing, right? So this was around test case authoring experience. Now we also have capability to like import test cases through CSV. You can go ahead and import your CSV files, and you can go about generating test cases from your CSV file. So I have a sample CSV file which I have imported here. I can click on proceed, and by default, your incoming fields from your CSV file will be read and they will be mapped uh, from with the system fields. And if I'm not probably liking any of the fields that are getting automatically mapped, I can drop those fields or update the mappings, right? I can click on proceed and wait for my entire CSV import to basically uh, complete. Right, so this done. So I've just now imported all my test cases from CSV file. So I think these are the test cases that I added from CSV file in this particular folder. So these are all read from my test case, my CSV file, right? So now I think moving forward, we have the next capability, which is around test runs. And I think before I move to test runs, I also want to quickly talk about our Jira app, which helps you integrate your browser test management with uh, your project management tools such as Jira effortlessly, and there is a bi-directional Jira integration. So all you have to do is you have to go to Jira Marketplace and just search for BrowserStack, and you'll get two apps in the search results. One is the paid app, another one is the free app. I'll just talk about the free one. You can go ahead and purchase the product from the free from the paid app flow as well, and you can go ahead and install this app from the Atlassian Marketplace. And once you install the app, for any of your Jira stories, you will start finding this BrowserStack prompt, and you can start linking your test cases from the SaaS platform and also the test runs from your SaaS platform here. And what this helps you get an overall view is you can check all the relevant test cases in central place, and you can start tracking the traceability view of your entire testing activity, and basically go about also authoring some new test cases here. Let's say if I've missed out any test case, I can go ahead and add some test cases here as well. Right? And by default, the folder structure is basically read from the SaaS platform, and I can alter the location of my test case that I'm adding from my Jira story as well. So I can go ahead and add this test case, which gets added in real time here, and I can start also marking results for this newly added test case. Now, the bidirectional Jira integration at BrowserStack Test Management is very smooth and effortless. I can toggle from Jira app to my BrowserStack Test Management platform and look at that particular test case easily. This is a test case that is basically I've navigated from, and I can move from my test case repository to Jira app through the bidirectional integration, right? So this will come in very handy for teams which are heavily engaged with Jira app, and we are likewise building bidirectional integration with Azure and other project management tools as well, right? Quickly jumping on to test runs capability. So test runs is a module which helps you create both manual and automated test runs, like I talked about. And manual test run creation is super easy and simple to get started with. I can dump in my test cases which I find relevant for my testing activity. I have some filtering options on the right, which I can choose to filter my test cases that I want to get added in my test run. Let's say I'll just add these new test cases that I added just now, and I can also attach Jira issues. I can also attach any of the existing test plans. I'll come to test plans also in a bit, but I have some test plans which are already created. So I'll add this test run and group it under a test plan, which is this one. And I'll go ahead and create this test run. So I have a new manual test run which is created. It has 4 test cases. Right now, there is no overall progress. And I can go inside this test run and start marking results for these test cases, let's say in bulk, and I'll say that these are all passing. I can upload some proof for my testing activity. I can also attach any Jira issues. If let's say the test cases are failing, I can attach Jira issues, and I can say that these are the test cases that are failing, and this is a tracking ticket for my bug, right, for this thing. As you can see now, this is marked as failed, and there's a corresponding tracking ticket as well for this issue, right? And you can see that because it's a step-driven template, I can have step-driven result that I can also track. So let's say this particular test case is failing, this is also failing, and of course, if these all are failing, probably everything else will fail. But had this been passing, and let's say this was failing, automatically we will probably get blocked for the third step. So I can play around with this, and I can overall also determine my overall test run status at an aggregate level. Right now, this is about like manual test runs. When you come to automated test runs, there are two ways you can upload your automation results. One is through a simple endpoint that we have exposed. It's a simple curl-driven endpoint which you can integrate for multiple frameworks. So these are all the test automation frameworks that we support. And if you happen to export results in standard JUnit XML or BDD JSON file formats, you can basically hit our endpoint that we have exposed and give us your JUnit XML file or BDD JSON file, and we will start reading results from your report file, right? So this is one way of uh, giving us the data from your automation flows, and all your test cases will be read from your JUnit file, and they will be automatically they're going to show up here with all the corresponding results that your JUnit file is going to have, right? And the beauty of importing these test cases is that these test cases will automatically start showing up in your automation folder in the test case repo. So you have a unified view of your manual test cases and automated test cases in a single repository, right? And while test runs is also aggregated with to give a both a solid view of manual and automated test runs. The other way through which you can import your automated test run is through BrowserStack Test Observability. It's our sister product, which basically is powered through BrowserStack SDK. You have to install BrowserStack SDK, and it reads all your test cases in form of build runs. And BrowserStack Test Management is natively integrated with Test Observability product. So all your build runs are going to automatically show up over here, and they are visually differentiated through this icon. I can go inside my build runs, and I can start seeing the corresponding data which is powered by BrowserStack SDK, right? And if the test cases are failing, I can go inside, I can go directly jump from test management to BrowserStack Test Observability product. I can see more deep dive around the time travel of what exactly went wrong in terms of testing, reports, some kind of screenshots if I'm interested in looking at, or videos for the execution activity that has happened. So I can see all that in test observability tool, right? With the detailed stack trace, the videos of my execution, if it's a CBD testing or a cross-browser testing that I'm doing, and network logs, other set of logs, and a detailed set of basically traceability of what went wrong or well in your automation flows, right? So these are the two ways which you can import your automation flows. One is through a simple JUnit XML upload through the curl endpoint that we have exposed, and the other one is through BrowserStack SDK powered by test observability, right? Now, I think moving ahead, we have like test plans, which is a new feature that we have recently introduced. And test plans are a, hierarchically speaking, it's a one level higher kind of connotation uh, for testing activity. I can group bunch of test runs within a test plan. I can see overall what's the testing activity looking like. So in this particular test plan, I have two test runs which are grouped, and I can see overall progress of individual test runs, and I can also see overall test plan progress as well. So in this overall test plan, I have 62 test cases, and around 46% of them are passing, rest 51% are failing, and bunch of them are in other states, right? And I can also see overall progress of testing activity for this particular test plan through this graph. I can also see the other artifacts around, like when was this test plan created and any particular description of the test plan as well. I can create a test plan right now. By default, every test plan will have like a start date and end date so that you can track, are you delayed or are you good in terms of completing the test plan activity on time. So test plans necessarily are going to basically align with your upcoming release and it'll make sure that your teams kind of adhere to the timelines for release, right? So this is I can like create a test plan here, and I can go inside let's say any of the existing test plans. So this one, as you can see, it says it's 13 days overdue. The completion date supposed to be January 10th, and we are right now already on 23rd January date. So it's 13 days overdue, and there is only 57% progress, right? So the team is probably need to like catch up on this test plan. This one is still like I think 100% complete, and it still has 8 days left. So this is good, and I can mark this as completed, right? So I can mark so end date was 31st, but I can mark, let's say, today's date itself as the completed date, and I'm done with this particular test plan. So it moves to the completed plan bucket, right? So it again helps you get a top-down view as if you're a QA leader, QA manager, it helps you get an overall view and drill-down view of your team's activity, right? I think moving ahead, we have, I'll first go to dashboards before coming to reports. So dashboard gives you an overall kind of perspective of different modules of the product. So I get an overview of my ongoing test runs and what are the test cases that are currently part of my ongoing test run. So there are 739 test cases that are part of my ongoing testing activity and their corresponding statuses. So only 13% of test cases are marked as passed, while like 8% is failed and 70% is still untested. So which is kind of an action item for me to probably go deeper into each of these tests and see why a large number of them are still untested, right? On the right here, I can historically see a trend of test cases that are that got closed over a period of last 12 months. And let me do a quick check on the Q&A bit as well. So I see like there are a bunch of questions that are asked by the attendees, and we'll just encourage you to keep posting your questions, and we will try to answer them as much as possible in the chat, and many of them will also take it towards the end of the session, as Supratim talked about, right? I think moving ahead, so closed test runs is one view that you get, and then from a granular month-by-month perspective, I can see what was the spike or performance like for each of these closed test runs. I can also view my automation coverage. It's a very critical metric which QA teams want to track and probably set some targets for their teams. Uh, so I have overall 182 manual test cases, 50 of them are only automated. So my automation coverage probably is like is on the lower side compared to the industry standard. I have more to like probably set some targets for my team. Right now, here you get an overall picture of the type of test cases that you have added in your platform. So how many are functional, how many are regression, how many are accessibility, and many of them are basically uncategorized as well. So I can set some action item for my team to start marking these other test cases also as a with a valid value, right? And on the right here, I have a historical trend of what kind of test cases the teams are adding. So these are the total test cases, the trend of total test cases, then manual test cases, and the top five category-wise test cases that are getting added on the platform, right? So automation, functional, accessibility, and usability. It sets me a good kind of insight around the testing trend and test case authoring trend for my teams, right? Down below is your Jira issues or defects that are getting filed for your test results or test runs. And again, I get a overall view of the spikes and the low phases of my entire testing activity and gives me a good overall perspective of my org's testing activity, right? Now, I think moving forward, so we have recently also introduced reports capability, and we have started with like two out-of-the-box reports, which is like one is test and summary and test and detail. And let's say I have this report which is already created, so I can go inside this report. This report is for all the testing activity that has been done in last 24 hours across this project. And I can see that there are 3 test runs that are created in last 24 hours, and each across these test runs, how many test cases are there, how many linked issues are there, what is the test case breakup, uh, and what's the test runs breakup for these test runs, how many of them are in new state, how many of them are marked in done state, uh, who are the people who are adding results for these test runs, what are the defects that are linked with test results or test runs, what is the status of those bugs or issues that are filed in terms of priority and status, right? I can schedule these reports. I can go to edit report. I can start scheduling these reports. This report is already scheduled. I've scheduled this for 5 p.m. UTC time, and I can attach list of recipients who will report, who will receive an email report every day at like 5 p.m. Right? And I can start adding newer set of recipients. I can change the report to weekly, daily, and I can change the time period for which also I want to see the data, right? I can change it to 1 week or 1 month. But so it's a very handy capability which uh, gets you the automated visibility around the testing activities without you having to come to the product every time, right? And we're extending this capability to also have more reports, right? I think moving forward, we have also an admin panel on the settings page. You have, of course, you can integrate your through Jira as a project management tool. You have other capabilities around how you can customize the values for test case form fields. So for example, like test case priority and type of test cases, I can start defining some newer set of values that say highly critical, super critical, release blocker are other set of custom values that are defined for priority. And these are the ones that come by default, like critical, high, medium, low. And I can map these custom values with one or more projects depending on my need. So I can have a fully customizable view of my test case authoring form, right? And we are extending this capability again to let you define more custom fields from UI itself. Right now, that capability exists through CSV import. You can add any number of custom fields by adding those incoming fields as new columns in your CSV import, right? UI capability is going live soon. I think last bit that I want to talk about is the API support that we have gone live with recently. We have published our API list of APIs, public APIs that are out there for teams to use. We have started with like list of APIs for accessing your projects added in the account. You can add test runs and test plans. You can add results to your test runs or test plans through APIs and basically schedule those test runs on the basis of some business logic. Uh, right? And you can like get started with APIs for test management as well. And we are again like enriching our list of API support to also have APIs for test cases, uh, for reports. You can schedule reports also via APIs going forward, right? I think yeah, I think that's about overall capability. I would love to also like look at the set of questions that we have. Over to you, Supratim.
Okay, thanks, Ankur. I think that was a pretty good overview of all the latest features that we have launched. And as the next part, for the product, we are continuously, like I mentioned earlier, we're continually building new features, and we have quite a few exciting features as a part of our product roadmap as well. So, Ankur, can you please walk us through the product roadmap for test management?
Yeah, sure, Supratim. I think the first column basically talks about things that we have shipped recently. So we have like reports, API support that I already talked about. We also shipped a capability to export test cases if you wish to export them in a CSV file format and probably take a download and save it for time to time as a backup. You can also do that. We recently launched support for helping you migrate data from X-ray. Uh, TestRail and Zephyr Scale already existed on our platform. We had X-ray added recently. You also have the capability of defining browser device configuration so that you can, let's say, link a particular test case for with, let's say, Chrome and Windows or Safari and Mac, right? So those kind of configurations you can define, and you can have custom configurations as well as part of this feature. What we are launching very soon in coming 1 month is uh, the admin panel support for defining custom fields. I talked about it during the demo. You'll also have capability to see the history of how many times the test case got changed or altered and look at it from a versioning perspective and see who was the stakeholder who basically made those alterations in the test case, right? And then you will also find a detailed capability of adding test cases in Jira app. I showed you a one-click, uh, one-line addition of test case capability in the Jira app. You'll have a detailed test case authoring form on the in the Jira app as well, just like how you have on the SaaS side, which I showed you, right? So, and likewise, you'll be able to create test runs from within the Jira app as well, right? Right now, you can do that on the SaaS platform. You'll have capability to archive test cases and retrieve them at a later point of time. Many customers have reached out to us for asking us to give us this capability so that by mistake, if you archive test cases, you will be able to retrieve them. You will have shared steps kind of capability so that you can reuse certain parts of test cases as shared steps instead of having to write them all over again in a newer test case. We are also revamping our test case authoring experience to help you, insert links, insert tables. I think this some kind of enhancement has already gone live just yesterday. For teams to try it out, you can insert code blocks, you can insert images, you can insert basic formatting like bold, text, italics, and we are going to enrich it further with options to insert links and insert tables as well, right? And in upcoming few weeks and months, you'll have capabilities that are listed on the right. So you'll have a review and approve workflow. We understand that many of the probably like new joinees in the team would want the test cases to be reviewed by someone in senior in the team. So you'll have a review and approve capability. We are working on integrating another project management tool, which is Azure DevOps. You'll also be able to like reorganize test cases using dragging and dropping capability. Right now, you have that capability through a modal-driven approach. We want to make it much faster. You'll have detailed reports on traceability and defects. I showed you reports where these defects are uh, pulled and they are already linked with the test run, and you can get a view of those defects linked with the test run. But on a holistic level, if I want a direct report of defects, I can also pull it eventually. And also a detailed traceability report, starting from your requirements to test cases to the execution activity and the defects that are linked with your particular requirement, right? We'll also have reporting capability at all projects level. Right now, reports sit at individual project level. Many customers have talked about adding this capability across all the projects. So you'll have that. We'll extend also, the support to have auditing and logging support for our specifically enterprise and big customers, right? They need this kind of auditing capability. I think there are many more features that are part of the roadmap. I think over to you, Supratim.
Yes, thanks, Ankur. We will be soon beginning our live Q&A, so I encourage everyone to please post your question on the Q&A. But before we get started, we do have a poll for all of you. So if you want to explore BrowserStack Test Management for your team, you can share your response here. If you want a customized demo, our team will definitely get back to you. So this is the time where you can just let us know, and our experts will be get in touch with you. We will keep this poll live for a couple of more seconds, and we will get started with the Q&A. All right, we will just end this poll and we will get start with our Q&A. We do have quite a few questions. Some of them have been answered by our panel. So I'm just going through all the questions.
Yeah, and feel free to post your question once again in case you're not satisfied with the response that was already given to you in the chat. Would love to address them
Yeah.
once again.
So Ankur, we have one question regarding our test run. Can we run periodically the test runs?
Yeah, so I think we definitely can do that, Vineet. So we have the API support now for creating and scheduling test runs. You can do that using APIs.
All right. The next question is, can it be integrated with automation tool to execute the test cases automatically and update the results?
Automation tool to execute that test case. Yeah, I think so. We have support with 15 plus test automation frameworks. So yes, if you are using any of your test automation frameworks like TestNG, WebDriver.io, Playwright, and maybe like you're using a CI/CD pipeline tool, it could be Jenkins or Travis CI, Circle CI, or GitHub pipelines. You can use the automation tool results, which is exported in a JSON format, and basically set it up periodically and hit our endpoint to capture this testing activity and see them in the test management console, right? And the other approach that I covered in the demo was just installing BrowserStack SDK and effortlessly importing the test cases to also get deep dive into some of the detailed logs or reporting activity around your automation tester. So these are the two capabilities you can through which you can import your testing activity from the automation tool.
And I think the next question is from Lee. Will there be a capability added to duplicate test cases that stays synced to the original test case, meaning that editing the test case will update it anywhere it is used?
Yeah, I think that's spacing. Yeah, I think no. So I think we have a copy capability, Lee, where you can copy a test case within a project or across projects, but we lose the relevance once you copy a test case, right? Those are like that becomes a new test case altogether. So we would like to understand what's the use case for you to retain the original context when you're doing this duplication activity, because usually we have seen customers talking about duplication activity without any original reference to the test case from which I've copied this test case, right? So if you can help us understand, we'll probably look at it deeper. I think we have um, yeah, so I think there's a question around from Charlie, right? How is this different from other test management tool, right? So I think there are multiple layers to our product, which when we started building the product to look at how we would want to differentiate test management from a bunch of other tools that exist in the market, right? So the number one thing that we looked at was how can we make our test case authoring experience effortless, seamless, fast, and easy for teams to understand and get started with. And that's why you can see that today you can be on TestRail, Zephyr Scale, X-Ray, or a bunch of other tools, and tomorrow you can be on test management because of a super fast quick import feature. You don't have to worry about authoring those test cases all over again or worrying about a manual process of CSV import to get those test cases. Thousands and thousands of test cases will come to test management within minutes if you use quick import feature, right? And within the test case module itself, I talked about how effortless it is to add one test case quickly through a one-line approach, right? And you can detail out the test cases. We're adding AI capabilities to help you enrich in case you have missed out any of the test cases using the language models, right? And you can, if there is a test case that exists, if it's not enriched, we are helping you enrich those test cases through AI recommendations as well. So that's one pillar that I think we have heavily differentiated in the market. The second pillar is around a great Jira app. We want to provide you a very strong bi-directional experience with our Jira app offering, and we'll extend those capabilities to other project management tools like Azure DevOps, Linear, Asana, Monday.com. And we've already received very, very strong and positive reviews from our Jira app users. They have nothing seen the like of it in the market in terms of the user experience, the kind of capabilities that we have in our Jira app. You can author the test cases, you can update the results of those test cases from within the Jira app itself without having to come to the test management console to update the results, right? So our Jira app is fast, modern, and loaded with a lot of newer functionalities. The third capability is around what kind of reporting and analytics that we want to give you, right? So we have state-of-the-art capabilities to pull in data, pull in metrics that matter to the QA teams, and going forward will help you customize dashboards, probably have more set of reports. We have already started APIs for you to start getting those test cases and test runs. And then we will differentiate heavily in what kind of insights that you're deriving, right, from the dashboards. And like a very simple metric like automation coverage is something which is so hard and difficult to track in many of the other tools that you might be experiencing or using right now, right? And customers have given us very positive reviews around how easy it is to track a simple metric like automation coverage in our dashboards, right? So, and the fourth and last but not the least is the entire unified platform that we're giving you. When you come to BrowserStack Test Management, you get test observability product to get a deeper analysis of your automation test runs. You can launch BrowserStack live sessions to do cross-browser testing. And going forward, we'll integrate it with a bunch of other products, right? Accessibility testing, low-code, no-code testing, and API testing and things like those, right? So these are the four areas through which we have differentiated, and there'll be more to come.
Yeah. I'm just going through some more questions. They're all getting answered by our team as well in parallel. So
I think there's a question from Anna Supratim, where I think the question is how you handle low performance of BrowserStack on the local execution of test cases. Okay. I think so, yeah. So we are aware of performance issues on the local testing. I think there's a separate team that is working on improving the performance there. But once you have the local testing done, you can import the results of import of local testing from Automate through the JUnit XML file or the BDD.json file through the endpoint that I talked about, right? So I think that part is sorted.
Ankur, we have quite a few questions on the licenses and on the subscription as well. So
sure. So can you talk about licensing as well, please? Yeah. So I think the licensing details we have, I think, called out in our pricing page. If someone from the team can share the pricing page link, please, it will be great. We have multiple plans that are out there for teams to check. And up to 5 users, the product is free of cost. Of course, there are limited set of capabilities in our free plan. And we have 2 paid plans, team plan and enterprise plan. Team plan is for small and medium-sized teams, and enterprise plan is for bigger enterprise teams with all the differentiated features that are clearly listed on our pricing page. So I would suggest all the attendees who want to know more about our pricing plans to go to the pricing page and check out more details. So along with license of App Automate, do we get test management license too, Kaleem? So no, I think these are 2 separate products which we offer, but happy to look at any kind of interest that you have in buying both these products together. Right. So Kai has a similar question. If I have a BrowserStack subscription, no, so that's it's separate. I think I'll suggest if you already have a relationship with BrowserStack to reach out to your account manager If not, feel free to post your interest, and we will reach out after this webinar to help you with the demo and help you get started with how for the browser test management.
Yeah. We just got one question around the AI feature, Ankur, from Sonar. I saw automated testing is something that is integrated into the management tool. Will the test management tool help write these tests or suggest tests via the AI tool for this?
Absolutely, Sona. So I think you are bang on to like what is our future roadmap looking like as far as automated testing is concerned using AI. We eventually would want to also help you auto-generate automated test cases for a chosen framework or language using your manual test case steps and definitions, right? So I might want to, let's say, generate a TestNG Java-based test case from my manual test case definitions that are listed, right? And we'll help you pre-generate those kind of test cases as well. And follow-up question, are there any automated test integrations that work, provide more features with? Yeah, I think so. Like I talked about test observability, it's a state-of-the-art tool to get a much deeper insights around your automation runs. And you will not find that kind of tool that exists in the market with that kind of detailed kind of reporting capability, which is like natively integrated with test management. You don't have to put in any extra effort to probably integrate another testing tool or a debugging tool for detailed insights. So you have those differentiations that basically sets it miles apart from our competition.
Right. We still do have some time, so if you have any questions, please do post in the Q&A window.
Yeah, I think yeah, feel free to leverage this opportunity, team. Like I think we'd love to answer as many questions. Yeah, so there's a question from Rahul. Is the app uh, price per Jira users or browser users? So I think great question. Thanks for asking this question, Rahul. So we have two different pricing plans. One which works if you are interested in only buying, let's say, SaaS licenses. So you can go ahead and purchase for entire QA teams the SaaS-based license, but the Jira app comes along with the SaaS plan that you're going to purchase, right? While there are other set of pricing plans which are for entire Jira teams. So in case you have other stakeholders like software developers, product managers, VPs, CTOs who also want access to test management, you can buy our discounted Jira-based plan, which gives access to the entire Jira team whatsoever, right? And those are, of course, discounted at a per user level because you're buying for more number of users. So we do understand and balance out the pricing for both these plans, right? So you can reach out to our sales team to get exact pricing details for both these plans, Rahul. So I think Vineet's question is answered. I think Charlie's question is also answered, and
I think we just got
Sonar, yeah,
another
Sonar has one
question.
more question. Thanks you, Sonar, for asking one more question. So we have some projects that are very sensitive to privacy. Does the tool provide the option to create sandboxes with extra security for set projects? Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I think we do have uh, user data access control capability, Sonar, wherein you can fence which project is basically what kind of users in your team have access to what all projects in the account, right? So there is a strict user data access control capability driven by also custom roles and permissions that you can define to guard your sensitive projects and not expose it to your wider team. So we do have this capability in place. I hope I have answered your question. If not, please ask a follow-up question.
We're also going through some of the questions which have been answered in case we
Answered,
want
yeah.
to take up any of those just to add on to more.
Sure. Yeah, a bunch of questions on the AI. So William has a question on, will the AI learn based on the test cases already created? Yes, so definitely AI model takes into account the test cases that are already existing in the account, and not just in your current folder, subfolder. It also looks into the peer folders and their internal child subfolders as well to see what more potential test cases you might have missed in your current folder. And will it replicate the writing style of test cases? Definitely, yes. We do probably read the pattern and trend of what kind of test case that you author more? Is it like text-driven template or a step-driven template? What kind of detailing that you do in your test case authoring? We do look into all those uh, nuances to enrich our AI model. Right? Is that a roadmap of the upcoming features and when they will be available, Jennifer? So yeah, so I think we did talk about the roadmap bit. I think Supreme, if you can share the slide once again, please. You have some time, so we can talk about. So Jennifer, this is the slide that we talked about just a while back. It's basically talks about all the upcoming features that we have in the roadmap, and it also talks about a timeline as well. So there are a bunch of features that are going live very soon in February, and bunch of other features that are on the right column, which are going live in next 1 or 2 months. Can screenshots of text execution be saved with us with this? Yes, Charlie, you will be able to save the screenshots, and we have a very generous data retention policy as well. For multiple years, these data points will be saved, so you can look at those assets, screenshots, videos for much longer. Right? Our team is currently subscribed to Live and Automate. Is test management a separate cost? Yes, brand. Test management is free for up to 5 users, and beyond five, we start charging customers. And we will be happy to look at your needs and requirements for evaluating test management product. Right? Are there any plans that where you can pay per user? I can only see plans where there are five uh, plus users. Yeah, so I think there are different models through which you can customize these pricing plans, Jennifer. If you're trying to procure this product or licensing but directly from our sales team, we can customize and give you a customized or a specific discrete number of plans as well, discrete number of licenses as well. But of course, on the website, you see a fixed number of licenses that you can buy. So feel free to like reach out to our sales team and they'll assist you with exact specific set of license count.
And we can probably take 2 or 3 more questions. Just we have few more minutes left for the Q&A. So if you have any question, please feel free to post that on the Q&A window. This session was helpful for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's a pleasure talking to you all. Thank you so much.
Okay.